So, dividing radicals. Okay, so if I look at my first example, the square root of 16 over 9, my first step is when I'm dividing radicals is I want to put the radical sign on each individual piece. So I'm going to break this up to say the square root of 16 over the square root of 9. Okay, I'm going to break it up. If I look at it in this form, I can see that it's kind of hard to see what it would be simplified, right? But as soon as I break it into this two different pieces, this becomes an easier problem. What is the square root of 16? 4. And what's the square root of 9? 3. So my answer is just 4/3. Okay. One thing to note with dividing radicals, you can never. Oh, and my pen's not working. Have a radical in the denominator. Okay, so if you have a radical down here in the denominator, it's not simplified. So you need to keep simplifying until you do not have one in the denominator. What's the denominator? Right, in this case it'd be 3. So our denominator is the bottom part of our fraction. Okay, let's do another example. Everybody got this written down? Okay. Good? All right, let's look at this next example. Okay, the square root of 5/3. First step. Break it up. Yep, put the square root on both. So the square root of 5 over the square root of 3. Okay, now for this one, can I simplify either of these radicals?
No.
Are either of them perfect squares? No. So I can't simplify this down anymore. So it's not as nice as our last problem. So my next step is I have to multiply it by the square root of 3. You multiply whatever was on the bottom, that's what you multiply it by. Okay? Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top.
So 15 over 9?
Just close, yeah. Okay? So this is what we're doing, multiplying the top and the bottom. So if I multiply this across, on the bottom I have the square root of 9, and on the top I have the square root of 15. Does everybody see now why I multiplied it by the same thing? Because what is the square root of 9? 3, right? So that gets my radical out of the denominator. And then on top I have the square root of 15. Okay, we just carry this 15. Can I simplify this anymore? Can I simplify the square root of 15? No, right? No perfect square can go into it, and it's not a perfect square itself. So my answer is just the square root of 15 over 3. And I know I'm done because I do not have a radical in the denominator. Okay, let's do another one. Good. Okay, let's do the square root of a to the 4th over the square root of
What is
6.
going on?
Okay, now in this one, I just put the square roots they're already on individually, so I don't have to do that first step. Okay, so leaving it like this. I remember how we take the square root of a variable. If I have the square root of a to the 4th, divide it by 2. I divide the 4 by 2. So this is really a squared. The square root of 6. Can I simplify the square root of 6 at all? No. So that stays the same. Okay? Is it my answer? Good question. Can this be my answer? No, because there's a radical in the denominator. So I have to multiply it by the square root of 6 to get rid of it. And whenever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So on the top, I'll have a squared square roots of 6, right? Just reading across. And on the bottom, I'll have the square root of 36. Okay, so I have a squared square roots of 6. What's the square root of 36? 6. Can I simplify the top anymore? No. So this is my answer. Okay, once again, there's no radical in the denominator, so we're good. Okay, everybody have this one written down? Okay, what's your question?
You can't have a radical in the equation, but you end up with...
You can't have one in the denominator. So you can't have one down here, ever. You can have one up here. Okay? Okay, one more. Okay, square root of 3/4 times the square root of 4/5. Okay, what's my first step? Got to break it up. So this is actually the square root of 3 over the square root of 4 times the square root of 4 over the square root of 5. Okay, can I simplify any of these? 4. What's the square root of 4?
2.
So, same here. Can I simplify these? Nope. So let's combine them. We're multiplying, so it's 2 square roots of 3 over 2 square roots of 5.
Why would you put the 2 in front of the 3?
That's just how they do it. It looks cleaner this way, because otherwise if the 2 is back here, you might think it's underneath the radical. And then you get confused. Okay, am I done? No, because I have a radical in the denominator. Okay? So I need to get the radical out of the denominator. So what do I need to multiply by? We're just looking at the square root of 5. So we only multiply by what's underneath the radical. So we have the square root of 5 on the bottom, and then the square root of 5 on the top. Okay, so on the top, we have 2, and then we have the square root of 3 times 5 is 15. On the bottom, we have 2 times 5 times 5, which is 25. Okay, simplify a little bit more. So on the top, we still have the 2 square roots of 15, and then 2, what's the square root of 25? 5. So we have 2 times 5 in the bottom. So just pretend this wasn't here. What's the square root of 25? 5. That's all we're doing.
2 square root of 15 over 10, right?
Yeah. So then we simplify this. 2 square roots of 15 over 2 times 5, which is 10. Okay?
You really do.
Any questions on these for right now? Are we good for these for right now? We have more practice problems. Okay?